What's up, Night Owl? Steely here, back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at the Draconic options in the new Unearthed Arcana. We've got new races, new feats, and new spells, and if you're playing one of my games, I allow the Unearthed Arcana, so you're free to use any of this stuff. I'll probably be rewarding potions and scrolls of the new spells just to try them out, and maybe give out some of these feats as like a quest reward or some kind of blessing. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to look through them, and let's take a look. All right, so right away, we've got the Draconic races. The dragonborn race in the player's handbook is one way to reflect the character with dragons somewhere in their background. This document offers 3 variant dragonborn races you can choose instead. If you want a character with clearer connections to a specific dragon ancestry, as well as a new version of the Kobold, when you're making a new character using one of these races, use the rules under creating your character to fill out the details. All right, let's have a look. ASI, languages, creature type. If you create a character using a race option presented here, follow these additional rules. ASI, you increase 1 by 2, 1 by 1, or 3 by 1. You can speak, read, and write common and one other language that you and your DM agree is appropriate for the character. Every creature and deity has a special tag that identifies the creature. Most of them are humanoid. All right, first up is the Chromatic Dragonborn, which of course the Chromatic Dragons are the evil ones. The blue, red, black. All right, what do we got? Dragonborn with a chromatic ancestry claim the raw elemental power of the Chromatic Dragons. The vibrant colors, here we go. The colors of Magic the Gathering. The Chromatic Dragonborn are humanoid, medium, with 30-foot walking speed, and they have chromatic ancestry. So first they get a breath weapon. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of magical energy in a 30-foot line. Each creature in that area makes a dex save, 8 plus con, and they take 2d8 of the type associated with your ancestry. Does that have a limit? You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all of them on a long rest. Also, the damage die goes up as you level. Okay. You have resistance to the damage type associated with your chromatic ancestry. Okay. So starting at 3rd level, you can get 10 minutes of immunity to the damage type. Okay. This race just gives you like damage type resistance and 10 minutes of immunity and a breath weapon. It's nice that they made the breath weapon part of your attacks. I guess that's pretty cool. All right, we got brass, bronze, copper, gold, silver, fire, lightning, acid, fire, cold. So notice fire is twice and there's no poison. Only the Chromatic Dragons have a poison dragon, the green one. They also get a breath weapon. When you take the attack action, you replace one of your attacks. Seems like it's going to be the same. Let me see. So I wonder why they separate it. Metallic breath weapon. Here we go. All right, so instead of chromatic warding, you get metallic breath weapon. You still get that resistance, the draconic resistance. The metallic breath weapon, 3rd level, you gain a 2nd breath weapon. When you take the attack action, you can replace an attack. Let me guess, a cone. One of your attacks with an exhalation of a magical gas and a 15-foot cone. There we go. All right, so at 3rd level, you can start using cones instead of lines. So the chromatic dragons don't get their cones. Okay. Metallic gets the cone, 15 foot. Each creature in the area must succeed on a strength save or be pushed 10 feet away, or you have to choose one. Each creature in the area must succeed on a con save or become incapacitated. All right. So no damage, just an effect. Once you use the breath weapon, you can't do so again until you finish. Okay, so you get 1 per long rest. All right, next we have the Gem Dragonborn. Gem ancestry protecting the heritage of all gem dragons. We got Amethyst, Crystal, Emerald, Sapphire, Topaz. And their damage types are Force, Radiant, Psychic, Thunder, and Necrotic. Same as the previous dragons, they have a breath weapon and they have resistance to their damage type. And they also have Psionic Mind and Gem Flight. Psionic Mind, you can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet. You don't need to share a language, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language. They can't respond. Gem Flight, at 3rd level, you can use your bonus action to temporarily summon an array of spectral gems. Oh, got lost. Spectral gems that match your gem ancestry in the shape of wings that last for 1 minute. You gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. Okay. So 1 minute of flight at 3rd level. Overall, these are pretty cool. I like these additions to the Dragonborn. None of them really kind of stand out as crazy good. They're just kind of interesting. I like that they can replace their attacks with the breath weapon instead of just choosing whether to Like instead of using an action to breath weapon, they can actually use it as part of their attacks. That's wonderful. I'm glad they did that. The chromatic getting immunity for 10 minutes. That's probably the best one. The 10 minutes of immunity. Flight is great for a minute. I guess flight is okay for 1 minute. But 10 minutes of immunity is pretty good. Like if you're going up against an elemental and like you match the type, again, you got to do type matching. At least the flight is useful always, but it comes back on a long rest. I don't know. I'm not really impressed with the knockback with like the prone and the incapacitated. I mean, well, incap is pretty good for a con save. That could come in handy. A 15-foot incap. That's okay. All right, moving on to the kobold. Some of the smallest draconic creatures to walk the plains. Kobolds display their draconic ancestry. Worshipping divine beings in the place. Kobolds know too well how dangerous these dragons can be. Kobold traits. So it looks like they got rid of the kobold's light sensitivity. That's wonderful. They still have the dark vision. It only goes 60 feet now. I don't know how people are feeling about that. Like reducing the dark vision, but they don't have light sensitivity anymore, which is great. That makes them more usable, I think. Draconic legacy. The kobold connection to dragons can manifest in unpredictable ways. Choose one of the following. You have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition. Choose one. Choose one of the following. Advantage on frightened. You know one cantrip of your choice. Now we're talking. You know one cantrip of your choice from the sorcerer spell list. Okay, I didn't see that spell list. Sorcerer spell list. That's pretty good. That is really good. Kobold with you can choose a cantrip. I would probably always choose that. You can make let's look at the next one. You can make unarmed strikes with your tail. When you hit with it, the strike deals a d6 plus strength, bludgeoning, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. You can make unarmed strikes with your tail. When you hit with it, the strike deals a d6 plus strength mod, bludgeoning damage, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. Okay, I guess that's supposed to be, I guess they copy and pasted from another unarmed strike. It's supposed to say, I don't think it's supposed to say instead of bludgeoning, because like a lot of them, like the Minotaur, their unarmed strike, they can use their horns and it'll do piercing, and it'll say instead of bludgeoning damage from a normal. But the tail is bludgeoning, so maybe they left it there in case they change it. I don't know, but that's a bit redundant. It does bludgeoning damage instead of bludgeoning. Draconic roar. As a bonus action, you let out a draconic roar at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Until the end of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those creatures who could hear the roar. No save. As a bonus action, you roar at the enemies 10 feet of you. They have advantage. Your allies have advantage to attack them. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency, and you regain all of them on a long rest. Okay. That's kind of cool. 10 feet. Everybody has advantage on the things you roar at. I like it. There's no save involved, so it's just like, you guys get advantage. It happens. I'm surprised there's no, like, they need to be able to hear or anything like that. They just kind of, which I guess like the kobold roaring, you could feel it, like you could get shaken by it, but I don't know. There's some creatures it's like, why would this creature be bothered by a roar? The first one comes to mind is like a gelatinous cube. How are you going to get advantage on that because of a roar? But hey, that's what it says. It says what it says. All right, now we're moving on to the feats. A feat represents a character's achieving mastery in one of their capabilities or discovering the ability to do something completely new. So these DMs, I would have these as like a reward, like a side quest reward, like a blessing. If you want to test them out, I haven't read through any of these, but if any of them call out to you, that could be a cool. If they do a quest for a dragon or a dragonborn or some kind of a half dragon or whatever. This could be like a blessing that they give, and you could just try out the feat. Maybe it could be temporary, it lasts for a few game sessions just to try it out, or permanent fixture. That's probably what I will do with these feats, depending on what they do. I got to read through them. First, we have Gift of the Chromatic Dragon. You manifest some of the power of the chromatic dragons, granting you the following benefits. Bonus action, you can touch a simple or martial and infuse it with the following damage types. Awesome. All right, so do you choose the damage type when you take the feat, or do you just have the damage type? Infuse it with one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. For the next minute, the weapon deals an extra d4 of the chosen type when it hits. After you use this ability, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So once per long rest. When you take acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to that instance of damage. So you don't choose a type when you take this feat. You just get all of them. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. That is interesting. You can give yourself resistance as a reaction, and you can add a d4 damage once per long rest for the next minute. So it lasts a minute. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. A minute of 1d4, so that's like 10. That's 10d4 potentially. Maximum of 10d4 extra damage per long rest. So that's pretty cool. Well, actually, is it once per turn, or do you just keep getting it? For the next minute, the weapon deals an extra d4 when it hits. Oh, so multi-attack. You could keep adding d4s. Okay. So if you have multi-attack, boom, boom, you can get 2d4. That's pretty good. That's a feat. That's essentially a feat that adds a d4 for a minute. Huh. I like that feat. That's pretty good. That's a good one. And you get the reaction resistance. That is a solid feat. That is a good feat. I like it. Gift of the Metallic Dragon. You learn the Cure Wounds. What? You learn Cure Wounds. Okay. You can cast the spell without expending a spell slot. Once you cast the spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So once per long rest, you get a cure. You can also cast a spell using spell slots you have. That's important. The spell casting ability is Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma when you cast it with this feat. Choose when you gain the feat. Interesting. So it's a feat that adds Cure Wounds to your spell list. That's got some interesting potential. The first thing I think of is, can a wizard use this feat to scribe a spell scroll of Cure Wounds and then put Cure Wounds in their spell book? You can cast this spell using spell slots you have. I think for the spell book, it says specifically that it has to be on your spell list, and this feat doesn't add Cure Wounds to your spell list. So I'm sure some of you are probably thinking the same thing. You learn Cure Wounds. You can cast it using your own spell slots, but a wizard cannot add it to their spell book. Only spells on your spell list can go on your spell book. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. I've had this conversation a lot with a lot of different spells. People trying to weave in different spells into the spell book, but it says specifically that it needs to be on your spell list. So there's that, but still, Cure Wound. You get 1 per day Cure Wounds or spell slots. You can manifest protective wings that can shield you or others from attacks. When you or another creature you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can use your reaction to manifest spectral wings. Roll a d4, grant the bonus to the target's AC. Oh, I broke it. Where'd you go? Target's AC to the number rolled against the attack roll, potentially causing it to miss. You can use this reaction a number of times to go to your proficiency. That is these are solid feats. One of these bullet points is kind of a meh feat, but 2 of them, it's okay, that's a feat. That's a feat. Adding a d4 to a weapon for a minute and giving a reaction resistance, adding Cure Wounds to your spell list. Well, adding Cure Wounds, adding the ability to cast Cure Wounds, I'll say, and getting a d4 AC for proficiency. Those are good feats. I like those feats. I would take those feats. I would take them for certain characters. Do they have restrictions? Do you need to be a dragonborn? When their mastery arises from a draconic source, see, you might have to be a dragonborn or dragon ancestry. When this mastery arises from a draconic source, whether it's the gift of a true dragon, the manifestation of some heritage. I don't think so. It doesn't say it doesn't have a requirement, or doesn't say anything about a requirement. So I'm thinking, yeah, anybody can take it. Gift of the Gem Dragon. You've manifested some of the power of the gem dragons, granting you the following benefits: increase intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1, And when you take damage from a creature that is within 10 feet of you, okay, you get up close, you can use your reaction to emanate telekinetic energy. The creature that dealt damage to you must succeed on a strength saving throw. Strength. 8 plus percent. Okay, there's your DC. Or take 2d8 force damage and be pushed 10 feet away from you. What? The creature that dealt damage. Okay, so it gets a save at least. 2d8 force and be pushed 10 feet away. You can use this reaction number of times equal to your proficiency. And you get them all back on a long rest. That is pretty good. 2d8 hurts, guys. 2d8 on a reaction. Your reaction is better. So if you take this feat, your reaction is better spent on this telekinetic energy than it would be on an attack of opportunity. They at least get a save, though. All right, let's check out the spells. This section contains new spells the DM may add to a campaign. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to add spell scrolls and potions for some of these spells in my games. And then I might put a time limit on them to encourage the party to actually use them. So like they'll expire in an hour or whatever. So, kind of, but I want to do that so I can see like how people use the spell and just kind of get familiar with it. And I encourage you guys to do the same. If you're interested in this Arcana stuff, add potions and scrolls of the new spells. And when your players use them, you can kind of get a feel for how they're going to be used. Just in general, it's what I do anytime, like when Tasha's comes out or Xanthar's or any book adds new spells. I love adding, because a lot of times the players don't know of the new spells. And even if they do, they're like, I don't know what that does. I'm not familiar with it. I'm going to stick with the ones that I'm familiar with. So it's a great way to encourage them to kind of branch out, just to give them scrolls and potions. So it does a lot. It helps the players branch out and learn the new spells and how they work, what they do. And it gets you familiar with them being used. And they don't feel like they're sacrificing, like they're not choosing the spell, You guys you get where I'm coming from. Let's have a look at these spells. So first up, we have Draconic Transformation. I love it already. 7th level transmutation. 7th level transmutation, but it doesn't say whose spell list it's on. Are these all on the same? All right, let's see. This section contains new spells the DM may add to a campaign, making them available to player characters and monster spellcasters. The spells table lists the new spells, ordering them by level. The table also notes the school of magic, whether it requires concentration, whether it bears a ritual tag, and which classes have. Okay, there it is. There's the classes. All right, so first up, we have Draconic Transformation. That's the first one on the list. That is Druid, Sorcerer, Wizard. Druid, Sorcerer, Wizard. Sorry, Warlocks. Draconic Transformation. One bonus action. 500 gold pieces for this one, guys. 500. Remember, if you create a scroll or a potion, the spell component is spent into creating that spell or potion, or that potion or scroll. So just remember that. 500 gold piece to cast a spell. It lasts for 1 minute. Concentration. And with a roar, you draw on magic of dragons, transform yourself, taking on various draconic features. You gain the following benefits. Blind sight, 30 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see an invisible creature, unless the creature successfully hides from you, of course. Incorporeal wings sprout from your back. You have 40-foot flight. So you have blind sight, 40-foot flight, and when you cast this spell, and as a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can exhale a breath of shimmering energy. That is so cool. 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a dex saving throw, taking 3d8 force damage on a fail. 3d8. A 3d8 breath weapon, 40-foot flight speed, and blind sight transformation. Lasts for 1 minute, requires concentration. And that breath weapon's a bonus action. That is good. I don't know if that's a 7th level spell, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't know what makes the 7th level, though. Blind sight, I guess, is really good. The fact that you get all of these things, maybe. I'd put it at like 5th or 6th. 6th. I don't know. It didn't seem that bad. It seems kind of, to be honest, it seems kind of weak for a 7th level spell. 40-foot flight and 30-foot blind sense. I mean, that breath weapon doesn't hit that hard. It's 3d8. Maybe if the breath weapon did a lot more damage, you'd be up there on the 7th. But I'm thinking like, okay, 30 feet of blind. You do get them all, but it's 500 gold. Okay, moving on. You guys got the facts. Cost 500, lasts for 1 minute. It's a bonus action. You can only use it on yourself, so you can have a potion of Draconic transformation. Only use on self, 1 bonus action, 500 gold pieces, concentration 1 minute, and you get these 3 things: flight speed, blind, and a breath weapon. Bonus action breath weapon. Moving on, fizz bands. Fizz bands or fizz bonds, platinum shield. Let's see who uses or gets this. Sorcerer wizard only. Abjuration, 6th level. 1 action, ranges 60 feet, costs another 500 gold. This one, another spell that costs 500 gold. Concentration 1 minute. You create a field of silvery light that surrounds a creature of your choice. You can choose yourself. The field sheds dim light 5 feet. And as a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can move the field to another creature. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so you create a bubble on somebody, and then you can move that bubble around. Whoever's in the bubble, or whoever has the bubble, gets these benefits: half cover, resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison. It's important. And, not or, and. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison. They have half cover. And half cover. That's +2 AC. But there's a lot of there's some things that allow you to bypass half cover. But I guess monsters wouldn't really have that. So half cover is +2 AC. Essentially, this is giving you +2 AC from half cover, resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison. And if the creature is subjected to an effect that allows it to make a dex saving throw to take half, the creature instead takes no damage. So this gives you evasion. So you get half cover, resistance, and evasion. So that's pretty cool. Like, you've got this buff here that gives you blind sight, flying, and a breath weapon. And then you've got like an offensive buff, and then you've got this defensive buff. You can get them a platinum shield, get half cover, resistance, and evasion. That's pretty cool. A spell that gives you evasion. That's pretty cool. I don't think that seems kind of new. Correct me in the comments. I don't think there's a spell that gives you evasion. So that's nice. That's a nice little addition. And this was what, 6th level? Again, 6th level seems kind of high. Half cover is not that great. I mean, that if it was a flat 2 AC, that'd be wonderful. But my only concern with half cover is that there's ways to get through it, like sharpshooter and magic. I can't remember the name of the feat. I can't remember the name of the feat off the top of my head, but there's a spell. There's one that lets your spells bypass half cover. But again, creatures don't really have those things, so you'll pretty much always have that 2 AC. So that's a good spell. It's a good spell. I don't know if it's 6th and 7th level spells are powerful spells. 6th level is when you get Create Undead. So I don't know. This one compared to Create Undead, as far as power levels go, it only lasts a minute. And that cost. Why is it 500 gold? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. These are not consumed. Neither of these components are consumed. It doesn't say that they're consumed. So you just have to have the component, but they don't go away. You can reuse the component. My bad. All right, Flame Stride. Here we go. Third level spell. Here we go. Ooh, new 3rd level spell. 1 bonus action, concentration 1 minute, range self. The billowing flames of a dragon cover your feet, granting you explosive speed for the duration. Your speed is increased by 20 feet. And your movement doesn't provoke attack of up. That's pretty cool. It's like another Zephyr Strike. When you move within 5 feet of a creature or object that isn't being worn to carry, it takes fire damage. D6 fire damage. That's cool. No save either. It just happens. A creature can only take this damage once on a turn. No save. Just you're taking a D6. That is dangerous. That's dangerous. Because if you can increase that damage, if you have a way to nothing's coming to the top of my head how you can increase that damage. But I know that you can't, that damage can be increased. For example, you might be able to upcast it for additional fire. Okay, so you can increase it that way. But I'm thinking more specifically like meta magic, maybe. I'd have to read the meta magic just to see for sure if you could affect this damage. But yeah, that could be that may be too high, or that may be too low. I mean, 3rd level for that. I'm mainly looking at the fact that it's free damage, that they don't get a save, they don't get an attack roll. It just happens. It's not much damage, but it happens. And that's on top of the 20 feet movement, and movement doesn't provoke. You could do it you could basically just like extra 20 feet of movement. So on average, or the average creature has 30. So that's 50 feet of movement that doesn't provoke. You just don't dart across the battlefield doing a D6 to everything around. That could be dangerous. That's interesting. I'm looking forward to trying that one. But it is it's 3rd level, so it's on there. It's on the same field it's on the same tier as Fireball and Counterspell and Dispel Magic and Fly. So might not be too bad. Moving on. Icing Death's Frost. I recognize that name. Icing Death? Who's that? Who is that? I'll have to look that up later. 2nd level. This is a 2nd level evocation spell. 1 action, range itself, 15-foot cone, so 15 feet around you, or 15 feet from you. Duration instantaneous. A burst of icy cold energy emanates from you in a 30-foot cone. Oh, wait, what? I'm not sure about this one. Self 15-foot cone. I've heard of this. I've heard of this, but I can't remember what it means. I'm gonna have to look that up. Self 15-foot cone. I've seen that before. It's a new thing that they were doing. Anyway, burst of icy cold energy emanates from you in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a con save. On a failed save, creature takes 3d8 cold and is covered in ice. A creature covered in ice has its speed reduced to 0. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much, no additional effects. That's pretty good. I like that spell. It's simple. I mean, cover them. You do 3d8 and cover them in ice for a minute. Do they get a save every turn, or is it just like 1 minute, or until the creature uses its action to break the ice off? Okay, I skipped over that part. That's pretty good. I like it. Nathair's Mischief, 2nd level illusion spell. Illusion. 1 action, 60 feet, concentration 1 minute. You fill a 20-foot cube centered on a point you choose within range with Fey and Draconic magic. And then you roll on a table. Ooh, a spell that has you roll on a random table. At the start of each of your turns, you can move the cube up to 10 feet and re-roll on the table. Interesting. The smell of apple pie. What is this? 2nd level? The smell of apple pie fills the air, and each creature in the cube must succeed on a wisdom save or become charmed by you until the start of your next turn. Bouquets of flowers appear all around. Each creature in the cube must succeed on a dex save or be blinded. Each creature in the cube must succeed on a wisdom save or begin giggling. A giggling creature is in cap and uses all its movement. That's a good one. Whew, that's dangerous. Drops of molasses appear and hover in the cube, turning it into difficult terrain. Nice. Difficult terrain, 20-foot cube. That's an interesting spell. That's an interesting area denial spell. What I'm wondering is let me know in the comments if you thought this as well. Do the people that see you cast the spell know the effect? Because some of them are obvious. The smell of apple pie. So if you're outside of the cube, can you tell that the bouquet of flowers is obvious, but the giggling, what does giggling look like? The molasses is obvious, but what about the smell of apple pie? So there's 2 of them that are obvious. Like you can see the molasses on the floor. You can see the bouquets of flowers. But can you see the smell of apple pie or the giggling effect? Assuming no creature. If there's a creature in there, that'll give it away. But I don't know. That's an interesting one. Something to think about. Oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Rallotham's Psychic Lance. I'm not familiar with that name. That must be a Dragon Lance. Not familiar with that name, but this is a 4th level enchantment. 1 action, 120 feet, instantaneous, only has a verbal component. You unleash a shimmering lance of psychic power from your forehead. Alternatively, you can utter a creature's name. If the named target is within range, it gains no benefit from cover or invisibility as the lance homes in on it. If the named target isn't within range, the lance dissipates. The spell slot is not expended. Ooh, what? If the named target isn't within range, the lance dissipates and the spell slot is not expended. Wow. That's pretty cool. The target must succeed on an int save and into another intelligence attack. Or take 10d6. What level was this? 4th? 10d6 psychic damage and be incapacitated until the start of your next turn. You're down for an entire round. Yikes. Oh, wait, no. Incap is like you can't move. I think you can still. I'll double check incap. I believe incap is you can't. All right, I just double checked it. Incap is where you can't take actions or reactions, but you can still move. Higher levels, when you cast a spell, the damage increases by d6. Okay. 5th level, Conjuration, Summon, Draconic Spirit. You know what? I haven't been checking whose spell list this is on. Let me see. We looked at the Psychic Lance. That's Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. The Flame Stride is Artificer, Ranger, Sorcerer, Wizard. Okay. I like that it's on Ranger. Netheria's Mischief is Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard. The Frost is Sorcerer Wizard. And now we're looking at Summon Draconic Spirit. This is the last one. Looks like this is the last spell. Druid, Sorcerer Wizard. That's too bad. Rangers can't get it. I wonder if the new Draconic Ranger will get it. Let's see. Summon Draconic Spirit. Here we go. 1 action. Concentration up to an hour. You got to have 500 gold pieces. An art object from a dragon's hoard worth 500 gold pieces. That's not going to be easy to come by. You can't buy that in a shop. Maybe you can. Range 60 feet. You call forth a Draconic Spirit. It manifests in unoccupied space you can see. Corporal form uses the Draconic stat block. Okay, so it's just like the other summons. You get a dragon. It's large. Here's its stats. Hit points. Got a hefty amount of hit points. Does it have a breath weapon? Can you summon a creature with a breath weapon? You can summon a dragon with a breath weapon. 30-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a dex save or take 2d6. 2d6. This doesn't have a recharge. This breath weapon doesn't have a recharge, guys. They can use this every turn. Each creature in that area must make a dex save. Am I reading this right? Can they spam this breath weapon? All right, they get the damage resistance depending on what you chose, or chromatic and metallic. They get all these resistances. Because you don't choose when you summon. You choose a family, chromatic, gem, or metallic, but you don't choose the color, so they just get all of them. If you chose a chromatic or metallic, they get all of them. They get acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison. And if you chose gem, you get force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, thunder. Radiant. Whew. They're immune to these, charm, fright, and poison. They have blind sight. Because of course they do. Yeah, so it looks like the choice, chromatic, gem, or metallic, only affects whether they get... Why would they have chromatic and metallic as a choice if it does the same exact thing? I mean, I get it for flavor, but mechanically, chromatic and metallic are the same, it looks like. Or am I missing something here? Moving on. When you summon the dragon, choose one of its damage resistances. You have resistance to the chosen damage type. That's pretty cool. But the big one is the breath weapon, guys. The big one is the spammable breath weapon. This doesn't have a recharge. They get multi-attack. They can use its breath weapon, and it makes a number of bite claw attacks equal to half the spell's level rounded down. So at 5th level, you'll be able to make 2. A bite, a claw, and a breath weapon every turn. And I'm assuming it's a bonus action to command it. We kind of glossed over this because I assumed it's like every other summon. The creature is an ally to you in combat. It shares your initiative, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys verbal commands. No action required. It is still concentration, though. But my goodness. Now, see, I want you guys to take something in consideration here. This is a creature that you can summon that has a bite, a claw, and a breath weapon. And only requires concentration on your part. Now, compared to the 7th level spell we looked at earlier, which gives you blind sight, wings, and a breath weapon. And I feel like at 5th level, this is a 5th level, this is 2 spell levels lower. This is better. Because not only do you get like these things for essentially, for like you're concentrating, but you're also concentrating on the other one. Bite, claw, breath. You have it's an actual body. It's a large creature. Whew, this is really good. You know? And it also has blind sight. So this summon has everything that the other spell has, and then some. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. This summon is pretty good. I mean, I would keep it at 5th level. I just think so from the spell, just reading the spells, I feel like Draconic Transformation and Platinum Shield either need to be stronger or brought down in level. Everything else is solid. I want to try Flame Stride. That one seems really good. Yeah. And I didn't mention, I do like that the Kobold gets a cantrip. I will probably, if I ever play a Kobold again, we'll choose the cantrip. I'll choose the cantrip over the unarmed strike or the advantage on frightens. Because you choose one. Yeah. And that's it for the new Unearthed Arcana, the Draconic options. I wanted to do a video like just my first impressions of, of the new stuff. I like that they added new spells and feats. Not enough of those in the Unearthed Arcana. Based off of this and the new Monk and Ranger Draconic thing, I'm thinking of Dragon books coming up. Maybe a reprint of the Dragonomicon. Maybe. That would be pretty cool. But for all those speculations, make sure you join the Discord. Link is in the description. Come by, ask questions, let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.